Welcome back, everyone, to the Not As I Do podcast with me, Tanaye White. Hey guys, so I'm actually filming this on the same day that I'm going to be posting this, which is January 20th. January 20th is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and it is also the 2025 inauguration in America. It is a really interesting time, and it's been very overwhelming for me, at least. I find that there's no peace right now in the world, in the communities where we live. New York City is going through a lot right now. They just implemented congestion pricing, which has really irritated a lot of people who live here, including myself. It doesn't make sense that it costs more to live here when the safety is on the decline quite consistently. Even back home, I'm originally from the DMV. Right now, there's thousands, if not millions of people who are coming from out of town or even out of country to see the inauguration, which is great. I'm just going to remain very neutral and say that's a beautiful thing to be so patriotic for your country. But we know that these groups of people who are coming don't have a history of being pleasant, polite, respectful, or intelligent, to be very blunt. And so I pray for all of my family, friends, and loved ones who are in the DC region today who have to step outside through this snowstorm or for whatever reason to do errands, to see other family members, maybe to make it to an appointment. I just wish that you are all safe and well. That aside, I have been fasting for the last week. I've been fasting with my church. It was a 5-day fast, Monday through Friday. We weren't eating between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. each day. And we were also tasked with fasting from television, liquor, weed, anything of the sort. So I have been doing this spiritual and physical cleanse, and I think that what's been happening externally in my communities, mixed with how I've been reacting to what's been happening to me internally, it's just been a really interesting week for me. I have not been the most fun person. I'm just going to be very honest. It's been an eye-opening experience. It's also been very challenging. I probably was the worst faster possible, if that even is a title that you could earn. I didn't read my Bible as much as I should have. Though I prayed to God every single day, I know there are things that I could have been more diligent about in this fasting. But even that aside, I do feel like I've gotten a lot out of this experience. A lot of revelations have come to me over the last week or so, and that's something I'm going to dive into a little bit more in the vibe check. But I just wanted to give that disclaimer because this episode will likely be a bit shorter. I don't have the energy. I think I'm still recovering from, the changes. Additionally, my period came. It was late and then it came, and I think that also played a huge part into just how I've been feeling mentally. So, this being a mental health focused podcast, I did want to be very honest with that with you guys. And we all go through these things. So a part of me having this podcast is to just share the reality of some of the things I've gone through, and right now this is what I'm going through. That aside, I really appreciate every single one of you who tune in to my episodes. It means the absolute world to me. This episode is also a bit impacted too because I edit my content with CapCut, which is also a ByteDance product, and therefore my editing for this episode probably won't be as fun as it was last episode. So just a heads up on that if you're watching me on YouTube. But yeah, I'm so grateful for all of you. I really hope that this beginning of 2025 has been beautiful to you. It's been a lot going on, and at the end of the day, I never want to be the cause of more sadness or anger, even if that's something I'm feeling within myself. So I just want to send love and blessings to you all. So with that being said, let's head over into the vibe check. Okay, so this episode's vibe check is not my favorite and probably not my best. I've been thinking a lot about who or what I want to check. I started off not as I do episode 1 with checking Mark Zuckerberg, and I could check him again now, but I think that the internets are doing a damn fine job without me, so I'll leave that where it lay. And if you do want to hear me check Mark Zuckerberg, go ahead and tune into episode 1. Another person who I was considering addressing is Twitch's wife. Or widow, rather. Twitch is a well-known popular dancer who was most known for being on The Ellen Show, and he passed away during the pandemic just a few years ago from suicide. His wife, or widow now, has decided to come out with a tell-all book about him. They have 2 children together. She has another child from a previous relationship, but they also have 2 children together. 2 beautiful biracial children. And a lot of information has come out from Twitch's family saying that she has prevented the family from seeing the children. And she shared details of Twitch's life that no person should be privy to, especially people outside of the family. Personally, for me, I think it's very disgusting and grotesque to use a person's passing and a person's mental health challenges for profit. I can't see any explanation or reason why she would do this, but other than to simply make money off of it. Maybe the funds are drying up. I don't know what it is. Maybe the life insurance policy had wasn't enough for her lifestyle. I don't know what it is. All I know is that she's already switched her name back to her maiden name. She's just a few months after he passed away, she was already in another relationship. These are all things I've simply read. I don't have the knowledge of the inner workings of this family. I will say from the outside looking in, you should never tarnish the legacy of another person who has passed away and who cannot fend for themselves, or who cannot be the voice for their own story. It's not her story to tell. As a person who has attempted multiple times, and a person who quite often thinks about death and what the world would look like without me and what my family would look like without me, I can't imagine my parents, or let's say if I was married, my partner, then writing a tell-all book of all my dirty laundry that I had been working so hard myself when I was alive to keep hidden or to keep private. I think it's a disgrace. I think it's disrespectful to their children. I think it's disrespectful to Twitch. I believe it's disrespectful to Twitch's family. They vocalized that as well. We're all aware of karma, right? There's good karma, there's bad karma. Her actions in this tell-all book that she's writing is nothing but bad karma. And we all know that what you give, you receive. And all I'll say is bless her heart. I'm going to pray for the kids, Twitch's kids, and Twitch's family. I'll also end that with saying, if you're struggling, I love you. I'm here for you. The 988 number is here to help you. But if you are in a situation, whether it be domestically, mentally, emotionally, just in a place where you're not safe or okay, know that you're not alone. If anything, I'm here for you. I'm willing to help. I'm simply just an email away. I'm not really on social media right now. I'm taking a little bit of hiatus, but I'm just a DM away as well. I just want you to know that despite all of this craziness going on in the world, there are still people here who are going to support you and ride for you and fight for you. There's people on this earth who want you to be here, even if you feel like no one does. Even if you feel like you have no friends, no family, it's just you, you're at your wit's end, I'm here. You're not alone, I promise. I feel like there is a lot of ugliness in this world that is like festering. It's like a pimple that's coming to a head. Stories like Twitch's wife, stories like what's happening on the Hill today, stories like what has happened tragically at the beginning of this year. There's just so much chaos going on. Even the LA wildfires, what's happening with that, and then people home insurance reneging on their coverage. There's just a lot of sinister, negative energy happening right now. And I know that that can be very impactful to a person who's already not in a good place, even if it's not impacting you directly. Like, for example, I'm not in LA. There's millions of people who are not in LA, but we all can still grieve and feel for the people who are impacted right now. The people who have lost every single thing. They don't even have extra underwear. Like, I get it. There's a lot going on. So I struggle with this vibe check this week because what could I possibly check when everything is a wreck? That rhymed. Hey. But for real, I can't lie, it's impacted me myself. And then especially as I'm like doing this spiritual, physical cleanse where I don't eat from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., where I typically eat every hour on the hour, if not more, I feel it too. So I'm here with y'all. I'm sending love to you all, and this too shall pass. I always say that. But even in these cloudy moments, I pray that you find a silver lining that helps you get through the days. One of my favorite things about this last week is that I was able to spend time with my college besties, who I hadn't seen in such a long time. One lives in Canada, the other is on constant world tours, performing for people like Beyonce. You probably saw her if you watched this the halftime show that the Ravens played just a couple of weeks ago. Being able to surround myself with people who love me and who fill my battery, who I leave after a social engagement and I feel lighter and I feel happier, that was one of the highlights of my week. So if you are able to hang out with people who make you feel the same, I know it'll make you feel so much better, just like it made me feel. But yeah, I don't have much of a vibe check this week. There's just so much going on. You can probably hear it in my voice how I'm just like shaken up. Matter of fact, I owe my mom a call. I owe my brother a call. Just last episode, I said, call your mother. I knew I was such a Debbie Downer this week. I could feel it. I was just snippy. I was short. I was very monotone, even in my business meetings that I had this week. I knew I wasn't a good time. So I've been sort of like pulling away from the world a bit and pulling away from my people, but that's healthy to do. I don't want to ruin other people's good day with my own funky day, but just find a way to check on your loved ones, tap in with them. If there are people in your life who are able to bring a smile to your face, call them. There is still light here. There's still light on this earth, in our communities. And right now we just sort of have to lean into that exactly. I don't want to focus right now on checking anyone. I just want us to get through these weird days that we're having, and I want us all to get better. Yeah. And I'm probably saying this because I've fasted before. When you fast, you just become more sensitive to things. If you're not drinking as much, if you are a smoker and you're not smoking as much, just you start feeling things that you usually are numb to. I love this feeling. I love that I'm more aware. I'm sorry if the lighting's changing too. It's daytime. I usually film at night, and so the sun and the clouds are like impacting the light. But anyways, I'm feeling a lot of things. And I don't want to be any more negative than I've already felt over this last week. And I don't want to pass that on. I only want to pass on good energy, good karma, and love. And while there are other weeks where I'm sure I'll be like, you're bad. I'm not going to do that right now. Today's just not my day. But that aside, I still have had the energy and the dedication to come on this podcast and be raw and honest with you about how I'm feeling, because I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one feeling this way, and so I still wanted to pump out a vibe check for y'all. But yeah, I'm sending, like I said before, I'm sending y'all love. I'm sending y'all light. This too shall pass, and we're going to get through this. Lean into your good people. Forget the bad and just pray, and stay as positive as you can. You always go into the direction of what your thoughts are. So I am committed to remaining positive, and I hope that will trickle into my life and how I'm feeling right now. Okay, let's go into the deep dive. Okay, guys, so for this week's deep dive and to stay on theme, I wanted to talk about ways you can maintain your peace. Over the last decade or so, I feel like I've really nailed down what things I need to do and I can do to get myself back to my harmonious, centered self. So, this deep dive, I just want to share some things that maybe you have not considered yet that can help you feel better when you're either feeling sad or depressed or anxious or even overly excited. Sometimes being too excited can make you feel off as well, you know? So I just wanted to share a few things that have really worked for me over the last few years, and I hope that'll help you find peace during these crazy times that we're having. Okay, so the first thing that I love to do is sound baths. I've mentioned before that I love sound baths. It's how I start most of my days. Sound baths are typically done with a bowl. If I'm not mistaken, it's either a marble bowl or a ceramic bowl, and there is this tool of the same material that you spin inside the bowl, and it makes this beautiful humming sound. I first learned about them through an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. When I moved to New York, not too long after that, me and my girlfriend Soraya, we had a great night out, and one of the people that we were with, she owned a studio, a yoga studio, and so we went there at like 4 a.m. after like going to the club. She turned on all these beautiful lights. Literally, we whipped out mats in her studio, and she did a sound bath for us, and I fell asleep. I cried myself to sleep on this mat. And then when the session was over, we all woke up. I felt like such a release. This was actually right at the beginning of my really depressive episode I had once I moved to New York. And that release was something I had never felt before. It was very spiritual. And so ever since then, I've prioritized listening to sound baths each morning. I totally recommend. The frequencies are very good for your body. They're very good for your energy. I wish I knew more details about it. All I can say is read up on it, find the frequency that most resonates with you, find a YouTube video with these beautiful sounds. I don't think you will regret it at all. Okay, next, another thing that I love to do is grounding. That is something I mentioned last episode. Grounding is when you have bare feet in the grass and you just walk around. You are squishing your toes into the grass. You're really pressing the balls of your feet and your heels into the grass. You're really focused on feeling through your feet. It's also a great way to take your mind off of any other thoughts that you're having. It's a great way to focus your attention onto your existence, your being, and also physically grounding, or rather having your skin touch the earth, is very, very healthy. Us as humans, we're always in shoes, we're always, on concrete or, on hardwood floors or things like that. It's not so common anymore as humans that we are touching our bare feet to beautiful, lush grass or, dirt or sand. It can be any of those things. Obviously, it's winter right now here on the East Coast, and I can't do that right now. There's literally snow everywhere. Last night there was a snowstorm, so I can't do that. And I think that does attribute a bit to my seasonal depression that I experience, and it may for y'all as well. But if you are able to ground yourself in nature, whatever form of earth it may be, highly recommend. You will absolutely love it. It's this feeling that is not obvious. It's not obvious at all. You're going to think it's stupid. You're going to think it's weird. You're going to think it's gross. You're probably going to be paranoid that you're going to step in geese poop or dog poop. That aside, find a fresh patch of grass and do it. It positively impacts our body in ways that we don't know. Us being close to the earth is very important. We think we know everything as humans. We think we're so technologically savvy that we get away from the simple things, which is just us being with the earth. So try it out if you haven't yet. Another thing that I love to do when I really just need to relax, especially if I feel physically really tight, maybe I've been working out a lot and my body is sore, I love sensory deprivation float tanks. Now, that sounds really complex and you're thinking to yourself, a tank? What are you trying to go to space? What are you talking about? Yeah, so a sensory deprivation float tank is basically it's a large bathtub that is enclosed. They typically have a door that opens. You walk into it. You can float. You can float because there's thousands and thousands of pounds of dead sea salt. I believe it's dead sea salt. Sea salt or dead sea salt? I believe it's dead sea salt. Some type of salt, child. And there's so much salt that you're buoyant. So no matter how hard you try, you cannot drown. You cannot, sink. You literally float. You float on top of the water. The water is at room temperature or a little bit above room temperature. It feels like you're in a wet blanket. And you go into it naked. You're supposed to shower before so you get off any impurities off of you. You go into the tank naked. You float for about an hour. Some studios will allow you to float for up to an hour and a half, 90 minutes, things like that. So I've done this multiple times now over the last year, and I've absolutely loved it to the point where I incorporate it into my routine, my self-care routine. My favorite place to go to is Vessel Floats in Williamsburg. If you live in New York City or the New York City area, totally recommend you go. It's literally changed my life. The first time I ever went, it was through a partnership, and I went. They gave me a choice of teas to start off my session. You sip the tea, and then there's CBD in it, so it really just helps calm you. I don't know what CBD they gave me the first time, but I was mellow as hell, and I loved it. I'm never mellow. If you know me, you know I'm never mellow. Do I look mellow to you? I'm never mellow. I was mellow. I went in, showered, got into the tank for 60 minutes. And while I could not for the life of me calm my mind, I did feel very comfortable. I felt very at peace. I'm an anxious person. I'm a person who's always overthinking. It's very hard for me to shut my brain off. It's very hard for me to fall asleep. I'm a night owl. I actually really don't like to sleep, even though I love sleep, but I don't like to sleep because I always feel like there's something else I could be doing, and I've been like that for the majority of my life. But as time has gone on and I've gone back to Vessel Floats over and over and done these tank sessions, or these float sessions, I'm sorry, I've slowly learned how to calm my mind to the point where I fall asleep in the tank. I literally fall asleep floating in this salt tank. And it's great. I love the feeling. And I think the most beneficial part of this entire experience is that they tell you the next day is when you're going to feel the results. Baby, when I tell you the next morning, when I woke up in my bed, my hip pain was gone. I was a collegiate long jumper, so I have knee problems. My knee pain was gone. I felt like I had been reborn, quite literally. Sounds very dramatic, but I mean it quite literally. I felt like I was a newborn, a grown adult newborn. And every time I go to Vessel Floats, I go when I know I'm not feeling the best physically, and I wake up the next day and I feel so, so, so much better. It's like an Epsom salt bath on crack. You need to do it. If you're a person with chronic physical ailments, you need to do it. If you're a person who struggles to meditate like I do, you need to do it. It's such a beautiful, powerful blessing to know that these things exist. I wish I had known about these, or I wish they had existed when I was a teenager, when I was at my lowest points. Like this, float tanks are just such a pivotal part of my self-care routine now, and I just want to shout it from the rooftops for anyone else who goes through similar challenges like I just explained. You need to try it. Try it out. There's probably one in your local town or in your nearby city. Please try it out. Let me know how it is. I promise you, you will not regret it. Oh, and I forgot, they accept FSA and HSA. So yes, you can basically get it for free. For free, free 99. We love a sale. We love a discount. Yes, please, 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 God, for the love of God, I promise you will not regret it. Okay, another thing that I love to do, which is pretty obvious, is journal. I love to write. And I know that a lot of us growing up, we probably had a diary or a daily journal or something like that that we would write in often. But now, with the prominence of technology and computers, we don't write as much. Everything is digital. We don't really have hand to paper anymore. But one of the priorities that I've made for myself this year is to start writing again. You guys know that I used to be a huge writer. I have this giant journal that goes back to like 2008, where I would just write daily or weekly about my life. I really appreciate those entries now as an adult, reflecting on my teenage years. It's helped me to assess why I am the way I am now, some of the triggers and behaviors that I do as a result of moments in time from my childhood or my teenhood. But yeah, just being able to write your thoughts out is just very special. Being able to take the time to think about your thoughts because your hand is cramping, so you want to be concise. There are all these things that play a part in the healing of writing. So if you maybe can't afford to do a sensory float tank, or maybe it's too cold for you to ground, just try writing. To any piece of paper. It could even be a sticky note. Maybe you can make a sticky note wall of like maybe a highlight of your day or a high and a low of your day. Anything like that that you can look back on. Something that is tangible that you can reflect on like 6 months from now or a year from now, I think would really be helpful for your mental health. So if you do that, let me know. And yeah, I've always been deterred from writing, or I won't say always, but I've been deterred from writing in the more recent years simply because I don't write anymore. I type now, and anytime I write now for extended periods of time, my hand cramps up. But the pros outweigh the cons. So yeah, write it out, write it out. Even if it's just 3 sentences, just write something out. I think it'll make a world of a difference for you. Another thing that has brought me a lot of, I won't say peace, but centeredness, is reminding myself to check in on my loved ones. I'm going to try and not get emotional, but when my great grandmother was alive, I would think of her often. And there would be times where I would think of her and I would just think to myself, oh, I hope she's doing well right now, or I hope she's, having a good day. But I wouldn't initiate a call. Not all the time. I would call her very, very often, at least once a week. But there were times now, looking back, that I think to myself, I should have called her. And then my Uncle Tony, who passed away last year, I would have the same thoughts with him. And my uncle was like a superhero to me. And, as you get older and, you move to different states away from your family, you just don't prioritize calling extended family maybe the way you should, or that maybe you do with your mom or your father or someone who's in your immediate family. And I wish I did. I wish I did. Now, if I ever think of someone, I call them. That is my, I guess, trauma response. But if I think of, oh, my front light went out. If I think of a friend who may be living, let's say, 6 hours away from me, and I think of them, I'll either call or I text them and I say, I'm thinking of you, I hope you're doing well. Or I say, I'm thinking of you, let's schedule a FaceTime date. There's a lot of regret that I have in not calling more when I should have. And so, now when you come to my mind, I just act on it now. And I think it's really important for people to know that you're thinking of them. On the reverse side, there are definitely times where I had wished my friends or loved ones would call me more, or text me more, or check in on me. Maybe there was a day where I really needed it, and it could have changed the trajectory of my day. I know I always love it. Maybe I'm not available all the time to pick up or answer, but to know that I'm thought of is very special. Because not everyone is blessed to have a supportive system. Not everyone is blessed with supportive friends and family. So reminding yourself of your loved ones, reminding yourself to reach out to them, the action of acting on your thoughts. I wonder how they are. No, don't wonder. Just ask them. With technology, there's no excuse now. I think that's changed my relationships with a lot of my friends and family. I think that's changed my vulnerability to admit I'm thinking of someone. That is a act of vulnerability, especially if they don't respond right away. It's just something that has helped me heal, but it's also healing to just reconnect with your community. No matter if it's a 5-minute call, a 2-second text, even a DM. It goes a long way. And I feel like in society today, we're all very insular. We're all into ourselves. We're focused on ourselves. We're just so focused on getting through the day or, handling our responsibilities that sometimes we forget, like, there's a whole team of people supporting us and rooting for us, and there are people out there who just want to hear your voice, who just want to know you're good, who just want to make sure you made it home safely. There's just so much power in checking in. So that is something that I highly recommend you do more of, especially if you're feeling alone. I think it'll be really impactful to how your relationships with those people grow and develop. And even though it's been a difficult time coming to terms with, how I even got to this mentality of wanting to check in on people more, now that I do it more, I don't regret it, and I feel even better as a person, as a human being, knowing that there are people I can just reach out to and tell them that I think of them, tell them that I love them. It just impacts me in a way that makes me feel a lot more whole than I have in previous years. I don't know how to better verbalize it than that. So, yeah. Call your loved ones, check on your loved ones. But yeah, I think that's all the recommendations I'll share for now for ways to self-care and to find peace and centeredness amongst the chaos. But if there is anything that you do to take care of your own self during crazy times, let me know in the comments. I would love to know how you make sure that you stay aligned and in one piece. Alright guys, we're closing this week's episode out with a mindful mantra. We haven't done one of these in a minute. So this week's mindful mantra is, peace is not the absence of chaos, but the presence of calm within me. So I hope that as you go through these weird times that we're having right now, you remember that there's still peace within you, even if you can't find it on the outside. I hope you all stay safe, stay healthy, and know that you're loved. I'll catch you next week. Love y'all. Thanks for watching.